on your tail now. Hey there!
Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on, guys? Sergeant Moose here, back with another The Texas Chain Saw Massacre video. And in today's video, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about some things that Gunn has shared regarding the upcoming release of the Texas Chain Saw Massacre game on August 18th. So, as for most of you guys know, just a few weeks ago, we had the technical test, as it was a great opportunity for the fans to jump in and get a feel for the game, how things played out, things like that. But most importantly, it was important for the studio themselves to get a feel for the servers and how much they can handle in getting ready for launch. So with that said, guys, they are heads down right now working on finalizing the game for us on August 18th. But with the technical test, guys, again, it just was a test for the servers, but we did get a feel for the gameplay. And essentially, for those of us that have played the technical test from the very beginning, it did give us 3 or 4 days to kind of get the system, the mechanics, things like that down pat. And with that said, that's going to bring along some issues within the game in terms of balance. So, with that said, guys, they have released on their Reddit that there are going to be a few changes that they're going to be implementing, or at least taking a look at. A few issues that people have been noticing throughout the technical test. We're going to break down what those issues were, kind of explain them a little bit, and how it's possible that they can maybe fix them, or maybe, tweak them just a bit. So let's jump into it. Alright, guys, so first and foremost, let's talk about the first area that they've highlighted that they're also going to be taking a look at, and that is stealth usage and stealth benefit to victims. So, of course, as most of you guys know, some of you that played the technical test, even those of you that haven't played the technical test, stealth seems to be key in this game. The more you can be stealthy in this game, the more you're not going to be seen by the family members, and you can kind of do your thing, escape, things like that. The more noise you make, the more you're going to be putting yourself in danger, essentially. Now, me personally, I didn't really see too many issues with the stealth mechanic in the game. I thought it worked fine for the most part. However, you do have the potential as a victim to make a ton of noise, especially depending on the victim you're playing, such as Leland, Anna. Victims like that can have the potential to make a ton of noise and alert the family members right off the jump. So, stealth, in my opinion, can be an issue if you don't know how to use it. However, it looks like they're going to be taking a look at that. So, number 2, guys, coming in is early match pacing and speed. Now, this is one that I did have an issue with. And again, guys, it was just a tech test, and I'm obviously not going to complain or anything like that. But it's apparent that they're noticing it as well, so apparently it could be an issue for launch. And what I mean by that is that survivors, or should I say victims, can have, if they're on the same page with each other, they do have the potential to speed run. And essentially what that means is as soon as they spawn in, as soon as they cut free, they're able to just make all kinds of noise, rapid fire succession, and grab the lockpicks, get Connie, hurry up and open up them doors and make a beeline run for it. And it has happened multiple times in this technical test, guys, and that has been an issue. That has been an issue for me, probably the biggest one. And honestly, I think a good tweak for that is to not have the survivors wake Grandpa as fast. Because when they do wake Grandpa, that's when things start to get a little crazy. They can hurry up and escape, different things like that. So it is something they're taking a look at, and I'm glad they are, is the early match pacing, because I don't think that the survivors should be able to get out of the basement as quickly as they are currently doing. And again, guys, before we go any further, this is just a very early on opinion. This is not complaining about, the survivor side being too strong or the family side being too weak. Nothing like that, but these are some core issues that certainly will affect the game, especially whenever the meta's introduced with the skill trees, things like that. It could be an issue. And if there are, tons of games where the victims are just hurrying up and just escaping in 2 minutes and the game's over, that's going to be an issue for the game. And I know the developers realize that, and they're working on it. So it's great that they're already pointing that out before launch. Number 4 is Grandpa detection efficiency and usage. So, as you level up Grandpa, you give him blood throughout the game. He is able to consistently detect the survivors. If the survivors are moving, you will see the auras of the survivors when Grandpa does his kind of yell, roar type thing. Now, I don't know if this means they're going to improve it or if they're going to kind of tone it down a little bit. However, I thought his detection was decent, but it's not great because the survivors get a notification before he's going to do his yell. And when they do get that notification, if they stop in place, it essentially makes it obsolete. They are unable to be found until he's, done with his scream, and then they can start moving again. So I'm assuming they're looking at maybe improving it, or maybe giving him different abilities, things like that, as you level him up. And of course, we didn't get any skill trees or perks yet, so maybe there is something like that within the skill trees as well. But number 5, guys, and this is the last one on their list, we're going to talk about stun opportunities and frequency. And what I think this means is, guys, if the victims grab a bunch of bone shards, of course you have Leland who has his stun ability, they may be able to abuse this by consistently grabbing bone shards and stunning the family members. Now, whether this might mean adding a cooldown after you get stunned to where you can't be stunned for a little while again, I'm not exactly sure, but I have seen victims abusing the stun capabilities of the bone shard on the family members. I don't want to say really like grieving them, but assuming it probably can be a little OP if everybody's on the same page with it. So they're going to be looking at stun opportunities and frequency. But that, right now, guys, are 5 core issues that the Texas Chain Saw Massacre game has posted that they're going to be looking into before launch. And honestly, I think all 5 of those are amazing, that they should be looking into them as well. And I'm glad that they came forward with that. And we'll see how it goes at launch. And last but not least, guys, I'm going to talk about, they shared a little clip of Johnny, our newest killer, who we did not get to try in the technical test. But they did share a little gameplay from him, and of course, as we know, as we went over his abilities and things like that in the past, he does have a tracking ability. So when the victims are nearby, things like that, running around, he can actually track their footprints and be led to their location. Which, as you guys can see in the clip, this, in my opinion, because you only get 3 family members, one, of course, who has to be Leatherface. So you're going to have to swap out. You're going to have to pick 2 of the 4 between the cook, Johnny, the hitchhiker, and Sissy. 2 of those 4 have to be in every game. So, in my opinion, I would think if you would run, of course, Leatherface and maybe hitchhiker or Sissy, then you could swap Johnny for the cook, because they both have the tracking abilities. Now, if you think of Sissy and hitchhiker, they both have the speed. They have the ability to go through cracks in the walls, holes in the walls, and things like that. They're little. They can kind of go through things. They're faster. They have better stamina. So I think you could probably swap them 2 out and then swap Johnny in the cook out as well, because, again, Johnny does have that tracking capability like the cook. So, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that is a little bit on Johnny. That's all we really know so far about him, but it is all coming together as we get ready for the August 18th launch. Let me know what you guys, if you plan on playing the family side, what your 3 top family member lineups would be. Would you have, hitchhiker and cook, like in the technical test? Would you have Sissy and Johnny, or maybe Johnny and hitchhiker, or, you can mix and match any way you want. What do you guys think the meta of the family is going to be now that we kind of have an idea of how they all kind of work? For me, personally, I feel like the hitchhiker always has to be in there. The hitchhiker seems to be one of the best family members. Of course, that's without being said that we haven't even seen any gameplay of Sissy yet. But as soon as we get to that, of course, we'll know more about that. But certainly want to try Johnny, man. Johnny seems like a ton of freaking fun, guys. So, as more news comes in, guys, of course, we'll be first in the scene to share more news regarding the Texas Chain Saw Massacre game. If you guys enjoyed this video, please feel free to drop a like. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more of the Texas Chain Saw Massacre game content. My name's Sergeant Moose. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys on the next video.